Hey guys, good morning. Well, we're doing a couple of updated videos, and back in the day we had done a forged leaf video, and we're going to do a little bit of an update to that. What we've got here is not a very difficult project. This is one of the projects that I do for my demonstrations. I mean, like every show that I've ever gone to, I have made one of these. We're going to start with some 3/8 inch square stock, and it's a real simple process. We're going to draw this bad boy out to a point, put a shoulder on it, and spread that little divot of metal that's left. One of the reasons I do these at shows is because they are quick. They take under 30 minutes, and when you're doing a presentation, it doesn't matter how much you love blacksmithing, your casual crowd is going to sit there long enough for them to finish their corn dog or turkey leg and their beer. So you got to be in, out, done, and fast because people want to see what you've got to offer and move on to the next thing. And that leaf fits the bill. So again, this is 3/8 square stock. We'll come right to the top of the anvil. And we're going to put a very shallow point. You don't want to draw this thing out so far. You know, you don't want it to be like the tip for a handle or a tool. You want it to be relatively blunt. That will do the job just fine. Very quickly, we're going to go over to the horn of the anvil, and I usually hang about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter if I'm feeling generous. And you can see it makes this nice divot. I say it's nice, not exactly flat. But you can see that shoulder. Take another heat real quick. When you're doing a show, you're not explaining just the leaf. You're talking about blacksmithing. You're doing everything else. So you have to have a lot of time in there in the middle to run your mouth, which thankfully is something that I do well. Back to over the edge of the anvil. Now we turn it 90 degrees because we're making a shoulder on both sides. And you see we can thin that bad boy out. That's going to be the stem. That's going to be the base of the leaf. I'm going to clean that shoulder up. I got a little off right there, so we're just going to go back in and fix that. Nobody saw it. It did not happen. There we go. That's a little better. We'll continue to draw that out. That'll be the stem of our leaf. So I'll take one more heat and go ahead and pull this back, give myself a little extra room to work. Now, if you're doing this for a demonstration, of course you're going to make this into a keychain. It's very easy to do. However, if you're doing an architectural piece, these are actually the leaves. So it just depends on how you leave that stem. If you have a wide base on that stem, you're going to want to attach it to something. If you pull it on out to a rat tail, you're going to want to turn it into a keychain or just a decorative piece. Of course, we're going to turn this into a keychain. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of space to work with. She's looking good. And now I'm ready to spread out the base or the blade of the leaf. Now what I want to do on this is I'm going to turn this on its back. Notice this line that's unbroken here. That is what I'm calling the back. I'll turn it up on top this way, and then I'm going to flatten this thing on what's called the diamond, basically the cross section. I'm going to take another heat. Now, I am not uniformly going to smash this. I'm actually going to focus on this portion here, the thick part. I'm going to try to leave that tip alone. If you really crush out that leaf, then it just looks like something is mushed. So you're going to end up with a piece that's thinner in the middle and thicker on the end. Be careful with your heat. As this piece gets thinner, it's going to heat faster. Now there's the body of your leaf. Now when I'm doing a show, a lot of times I'll just stop about right here and take my chisel and cut the veining left and right. But we're going to do this a little extra fancier, and this is where the back side of the hammer or the peen's going to come into play. I'm actually going to give it texture by peening it, and I'll start on halves, basically radiating out from a center line. Again, this metal is getting very thin, so if you're using a coal forge, be very careful. You will melt this joker in a heartbeat. Gas forges are great. They've got a tremendous amount of power, but of course the issue is always the fact that sometimes with great power comes great responsibility, so be careful. You see there's the first portion of our texturing. Continuing to work, but look at this. Look how thick the tip is still there. Notice all the work's being done here on the body. I'm going to take one more heat. Adjust my fire. Now you can get very, very detailed with this piece. You can increase the size of it a little bit and get in with some different hammers and some chasing tools. You can actually take that leaf, fold it up in half and make a beautiful crease as opposed to trying to chisel one in. There's a lot of things you can do. For demonstration purposes, we do it kind of the quick way. When you're doing a show and you're trying to explain to people how to do stuff, you don't want to get overly complicated. My teacher, Jay Penamore Riekert, one of the things that he always told me was never perform in public what you have not perfected in private. And let me tell you, that is valuable, valuable advice for a demonstrating smith. There you go. Now, since I don't have that nice center line, we're actually going to attempt to, I'm going to come in and cut it with the chisel. So we'll make sure she's flat and take another heat and come in with that chisel and just cut a center line right there. Plenty of heat. Come in right here. There's our first pass, and that's how you actually make a curved cut with a straight chisel. I'll take one more heat. Here we go. Now I'm going to come in. I'm going to clean up that punch. And again, this is not super fancy. This is not Mark Asbury work. But this is demo work. And she's looking pretty good. Now what you want to be able to do is remove this and rest the bar. We'll take another heat, pop our cutting hardy into here, cut it off, and then taper this bad boy on out, round it, and then curl it into our keychain. And just like that, you can see she's almost completely severed. All we have to do now is kind of turn this bad boy around, and we're ready to go. Now this is getting to be really delicate work. The hammer that I have, which is a 2 pound, is probably going to be just a little bit too heavy for this, but we're going to make do. Here we go. Alright, just like you're tapering anything, you bring it out in the square. Do yourself a favor and don't get in a hurry. You want to pull that out nice and smooth. Take a heat or two or three. All right, that should be plenty long. Now what I'll do is I'll take one more heat and go ahead and come back in here and round this. Now at this point, when you're down to such fine work, going down to like a 10 Smith's hammer or something a lot smaller is always a good idea. However, if you're on the road and you have limited tools, you can do this with a big hammer. You just have to be very careful about it. You really have to tap as opposed to crush. And there you go. You can see we now have a nice taper stem, and now we can bend this guy up. Now, depending on exactly how thick that stem is, you can sometimes use your scrolling pliers to bend it up, which again, that's a little over 1/8 of an inch thick. Shouldn't be that much of a problem. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna grab mine from Vanna. Thank you, Vanna. And then all you do is just kind of curl it the way you want. You know, if you want to do a double curl, just remember, just like with scroll work, it is misleading how much material that you need to actually do a proper scroll. I mean, you get as long as that piece was, you're going to end up with a little bitty short piece. So when in doubt, always make a longer stem. Some of the guys I have seen will do like a double loop, and man, they have to have 4 inches of material to get that loop. A good way to figure out how much you need is before you even start working on your leaf is getting a piece of wire and actually curling it to get your length, to figure out how much material you're going to need to do your fancy loops. I'm not going to do anything crazy here. I'm just going to offset that a little bit, and I want to make a smooth curve. Alright, and one more heat. Let's take a look at that though. You can see where we're at so far. Take one more heat and see how we're going to do. Those tongs done got hot. Just a little bit more. Back that out just a tad. And there you go, guys. I'm going to scrub her up real quick, and then we're going to dip her in oil. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, of course, she can be finished up, scrubbed later. Just depends on how far that you want to take this. And she looks pretty good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scrub her myself. Boy, what a difficult thing to hold. All right, get on there. There we go. Now she's looking good. So guys, there you go. One hand forged leaf right there on the floor just like that. Welcome to Monday. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you later.